What cities were selected east of the Jordan as cities of refuge, and what was their purpose? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Deuteronomy on Walking Through the Bible. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Deuteronomy chapter 4. We're going to be reading from verses 41 to 49. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Deuteronomy chapter 4, beginning at verse 41. Then Moses set apart 3 cities on this side of the Jordan towards the rising of the sun, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally, without having hated him in times past, and that fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Bezor in the wilderness of the plateau of the Reubenites, Ramoth and Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan and Bashan for the Manassites. Now this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, the statutes, and the judgments which Moses spoke to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt on this side of the Jordan, in the valley opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel defeated after they came out of Egypt. And they took possession of his land, and the land of Og king of Bashan, 2 kings of the Amorites, who were on this side of the Jordan, towards the rising of the sun, from Aror, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, even to Mount Sihon, that is Hermon, and all the plain of the east side of the Jordan, as far as the Sea of Arabah, below the slopes of Pisgah. In this lesson, we come to the end of the second section of Deuteronomy, the historical prologue. Moses has taken Israel through their history from Sinai to Kadesh, from Kadesh through the years of wilderness wandering, from Mount Seir to the plains of Moab, where they currently were situated. He relayed to them and future generations how they defeated Sihon, king of Heshbon of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, thus taking their land for Israel. This land was to be divided among the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh. And because God did all this for them, Israel should not desire to worship idols or go after other gods, but worship the true God of heaven. Coming to verse 41, we have Moses calling for the establishment of 3 cities of refuge on the east side of the Jordan. These cities were one in each of the 3 tribes situated east of the Jordan. The first city was Bezor in the tribe of Reuben, which would be near Heshbon, not too far from where Israel was then. The second would be in Ramoth Gilead in the tribe of Gad. This city was located in Gilead, about halfway between the Jabbok River and the Yarmuk River, south of the Sea of Galilee. And then the third city would be Golan in the tribe of Manasseh. Golan would be in Bashan, not too far north of the Yarmuk River and east of the Sea of Galilee. Golan is in the region of what we still refer today as the Golan Heights. So again, these cities were cities of refuge. What were these cities of refuge to be used for? For that, let's go back and reread Numbers chapter 35, beginning at verse 9. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, When you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall appoint cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who kills any person accidentally may flee there. They shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation in judgment. And of the cities which you give, you shall have 6 cities of refuge. You shall appoint 3 cities on this side of the Jordan, and 3 cities you shall appoint in the land of Canaan, which will be cities of refuge. These 6 cities will be for refuge for the children of Israel, for the stranger, and for the sojourner among them, that anyone who kills a person accidentally may flee there. But if he strikes them with an iron implement, so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he strikes him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he strikes him with a wooden hand weapon, by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The avenger of blood himself shall put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. If he pushes him out of hatred, or while lying in wait hurls something at him so that he dies, or in enmity he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall surely be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. However, if he pushes him suddenly without enmity, or throws anything at him without lying in wait, or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him, so that he dies, while he was not his enemy or seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the manslayer and the avenger of blood, according to these judgments. So the congregation shall deliver the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge where he had fled, and he shall remain there until the death of the high priest, who is anointed with the holy oil. But if the manslayer at any time goes outside the limits of the city of refuge where he fled, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the limits of his city of refuge, and the avenger of blood kills the manslayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer may return to the land of his possession. So as you can see, these cities of refuge were an essential part of the Israelite justice system, ones where someone who accidentally killed someone else could flee to in order to escape the death penalty. These cities would not act as a get-out-of-jail-free card, for one wasn't allowed to leave these cities until the death of the high priest, so there was a sentence for the crime, just not death. These cities couldn't be used as a way to get escape from intentional murder, for that penalty would always be death. In verses 44 to 49, we actually have the introduction to chapter 5. Remember, chapters and verses were placed in the Bible by men, and so really this section should go in chapter 5. What it is telling us is that what follows is the law that the Lord revealed to Moses, who then set it before Israel to follow. It is largely a second telling of the laws found in Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, but there will be some laws found here that weren't. This section of the book is the longest, taking us all the way to the end of chapter 26. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 1 to 10, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.